Hey guys, so I was given a topic to talk about today, and it ties in with how our energy carries hooks, cords, and ties from other people, and how, as empaths, we actually are prone to doing this consciously, taking on other people's energy. And when I say consciously, that is more along the lines of, for example, if you're a mother and your child is in pain, well, you're going to do everything you possibly can to help your child. And what we do sometimes as mothers is we actually take on their pain and suffering, and we do that on a subconscious level. But on a conscious level, we know that we're doing it because we actually might have just said the words, I'll do anything, I'll try anything to help my child. What can I do to help him? We go to doctors, we go to psychiatrists, we talk to guides in spirit, we do everything we can to help them. But when your children get to a certain age, when they become an adult, a lot of times, mothers especially, I feel, still have that cord that can become unhealthy. There is a very famous saying, and it is, you're only as happy as your unhappiest child. And when I first heard that, it really hit me hard, because when your child is suffering and it moves into adulthood, you say to yourself, well, they'll always be my child. I'm never going to sphere the cords, or I'm never going to actually disconnect. You don't have to disconnect. What you do is you tune into spirit and you just say, show me a healthy way to help my child without giving away parts of me, parts that are going to bring me into a lower vibration. Because essentially that's what happens when we take on other people's stuff, whether it's our children or not. We're bringing that into our energy field. And what it does is it just lowers your vibration all the time, because you're actually working with your own energy and you're working with your child's energy, and who knows who else's energy that you've met during the day. So the advice that I got many years ago about that was, you need to move into acceptance that your child or your adult child has come here to learn certain lessons. And whether it be through health or through anything on a mental level, or even on an emotional level, any level at all, a lot of the times they're here to work through the things themselves. And if we go in and interfere and take that on, we are actually stopping them from learning about their own soul contract and what they came here to resolve for themselves. So in essence, we need to move into acceptance that they're on their path, and we can help them to a certain degree. But a lot of the times they don't want us to be interfering anyway. I can speak from experience, having had 3 sons, and I noticed when I started to look after myself, because again, what you're doing here is it's actually giving the love you should be giving to yourself away to others. First of all, you need to give it to yourself. And what makes me say that is, I noticed, going back to my story, that when I actually stepped back, and I actually made myself ill because I was pushing and pushing to help my child, my adult child, and nothing was working. And even as a intuitive and all the work that I do, nothing seemed to be working. And in fact, he just seemed to be deteriorating. And I got to a terrible stage in my life, and I just said, look, this has to stop. And in fact, I was forced to stop. Spirit forced me to stop doing it. And as soon as I understood that lesson, that he's here to, as an adult, learn and grow and go through his own lessons, there's nothing that I could have done anyway. And I had to accept that I did my duty as a parent. I'll always be there for him, I'll always support him, and I'll always recommend things to him. But at the end of the day, he has to make his own choices. And anytime I find myself dipping in there a wee bit beyond where I should be, I just become aware of my boundaries, and I just step back and I go, right, you're overstepping the mark there. Remember, he has to do it himself. Since I done that, I noticed a big change in my child, my adult child. He actually took the steps himself to get a job. He went through his struggles with the job and decided he wanted to go back into further education. Did that, decided that wasn't for him, and he's back now, still trying to find himself. But my guidance from Spirit is just let him be. He's going to be fine, and he just needs to find his own way. And he's actually thriving now in his own way, because what he's doing is he's processing things himself, and he hasn't got me coming in all directions, saying, you know, let's try this, let's do that. And that was actually becoming irritation for him. And essentially what that is pressure as well for someone who is going through their own struggles. So in regards to hooks, cords and ties, what you can do energetically, sit down, go into a short meditation and imagine the hooks coming out of the person, because the hooks are something that is too much. It's far too much. A hook really gets in there and it's never really going to leave, is it? So it's the hooks that you want to ask Spirit to take out, and just visualize the hooks coming out. And then you'll see the cords, and some of the cords will be like ropes, and they'll be really, really strong, and they'll be like, well, you know, it's like a tug of war, and I'm never going to let go of this rope because this is my adult child, and, you know, all this here. Let those go. And then you'll see the little silver cords, and you can say, right, we're letting them stay, because that is the love, that is the connection, that is the healthy connection that I have with my child, with my adult child. And we're never going to sever that. So I wanted to share that with you, because I know a lot of people are going through mental health problems, physical challenges, and as a parent, it's really difficult to look after your own energy and move into self-love when your child is unhappy and going through their stuff. But it's the age-old lesson, guys. Give it to yourself before you can give it out. Fill up your own cup first, and then let the little trickles come out. But be sure to give your child, your adult child, their space and respect their boundaries, as well as respecting your own boundaries. And what will happen will be a harmonic resonance between the two of you, and you will notice the changes. It's a much healthier environment to be in, and the communication will get better too. Hope you enjoyed that. See you next time.